Hi everybody. It's good to see you all again. It's been a little while. I'm not sure what I want to talk about in this video, but it's got a little root coming down into my thinking mind. But basically what I want to talk about briefly is the state of mind associated with spirituality or a meditative like mind. And it's so hard to talk about this state of mind because it isn't even a state of mind. It is no mind. It is no mind, no thought, no time, no self, no where, no thing. It is the meditative space. It is the meditative space. And when we do meditation, when we have what we would call a good meditation, or at least when I have what I would call a good meditation, it's when there was a period of time, be it a temporary period of time, where I, the one who's speaking and animating, was not present. And that's weird and sounds contradictory of being in the moment and being present, because I say I'm not present, but what it is the mind, the thinking mind, isn't overlaying the moment with content and conceptual thinking and ideas and even emotions. A good meditation or a good yoga session is timeless, spaceless, selfless, thoughtless, empty. And what is present during that period of time of deep meditation, of deep stillness, is our fundamental nature, our sheer being, which is not the idea of who we think we are. And this isn't just an idea that I'm talking about. This is, you directly see it. You can directly see that when you are in this meditative stillness, thoughts form inside of this vastness. You aren't thinking it's vast. You aren't thinking it's nothing and nowhere and no time. It literally is those things. It is nothing, nowhere, and everywhere, no time, no space, no self. And the thoughts rise out of that emptiness, which you could also call fullness at the same time. It's non-dualistic. It's non-dualistic. There isn't, it's both. It's both. It has both the qualities of all the dualities of existence. So it's all one, and since it's one, it's empty, nada, zero, nothing. And then a thought comes into the mind. Whatever that thought may be. Wow, I'm really deep in this meditation. Oh my God, I was just in the stillness. I'm kind of hungry right now. I've been out here long enough, I'd say. Any sort of thought comes into the mind, and we either let it go and remain in the meditative space, or we latch onto it and sort of collapse our opened awareness of the stillness down into the frames of the thinking mind and animate through the thinking mind. It's 100% what I'm doing right now. Is I'm gonna make a video talking about the stillness of the meditative space. That's an idea. That's an idea. YouTube is an idea. Phones are an idea. But this space, it's not like you or I have to make it happen. It's what is. It's the fabric of this thing we call existence. It doesn't go anywhere. To say that because I'm making this video I'm not in a meditative space, that's not very accurate. A more accurate way to put it would be that I'm more so invested in the thoughts I'm having, the conceptual ideas I'm having and sharing with you guys right now, rather than allowing myself to become silent. If I was able to talk to you and reside in the meditative space, the silent space of existence at the same time, I would. And trust me, I'm doing it to the best extent that I can. I'm keeping both dimensions going simultaneously as best as I can. Because that's the balance. It's not good to be completely lost in the thinking mind. But at the same time, on the other end of the spectrum, it's not good or balanced or harmonious to only reside in the stillness. At least right now. Because with practitioners like myself, and maybe you watching this, it takes a certain type of effort to get into this stillness, where we have to sit down and do a mantra, or do different asanas and yoga postures, or follow our breath. And when the stars align and the mind quiets down a little bit, this space becomes apparent again. It's like an overcast day of clouds all over the place, so you can't really see the sun, or you can't see the sky which contains the clouds. And then the clouds start to disperse, and you can once again see the sun and you can see the sky. And that is a meditative moment. So in that analogy, you can consider that the weather of the mind, the forecast of the mind, where it's not necessarily up to us to to sit down and go, I'm going to go into the vastness. You know what I mean? Or I'm going to tune into the emptiness of this moment. It has a lot to do with the layout, the landscape of the mind in that particular moment. But this vast silence and stillness is always here. It's what existence is coming out of. or at the very least, at the most microcosm leveled way that I can describe it, and I guess in a way the most humble way I can describe it, is that moment, that vastness is always here in me, in my being, in my conscious being, but it's the thoughts of my own mind that obscure that awareness. Because I can speak for all of existence and reality and act like I know where it's coming from and that it's springing forth out of this emptiness, but I don't know. I don't know what this is. And what I'm really talking about is my life as a human and the conscious awareness of this experience that it seems apparent that I have. It's as though this deep stillness, this emptiness, where there is no, that space cannot be talked about. That's what makes these kinds of videos so fun, is that this whole thing I'm talking about isn't what I'm talking about. These words are not that space. I literally can't talk about it. It's not like I'm not describing it good enough. It's that it's not the words. It's this existence itself, consciousness itself, life itself. And the mind has all these ideas, and it thinks in a language, and it thinks in different blocks, these segmented ideas of, this is who I am, this is what I'm doing, this is where I am, this is how I feel, this is what I want, this is what I don't want. Very separate and segmented and, in a way, inorganic, synthetic. The thinking mind can feel synthetic, or at the very least, the conceptual, habitual patterns of how we think can feel synthetic, or how I think can feel synthetic in comparison to the silence, the complete non-judgment, non-dualistic, absolute blissful and peacefulness of awareness itself. The highest teachings are those given in silence, is a quote from the Indian saint Ramana Maharshi. And think about that for a moment. Think about how maybe if you're a spiritual seeker, an enlightenment seeker, a wisdom seeker, whatever you want to call yourself, and you're trying to get that teaching so that you can know the secrets and the things and the magic. You want someone to tell you what's up. You want someone to give you a model to think in that makes you feel like you know. And if they just sit there in silence, you very much so see the activity of the dissatisfied mind in wanting more concepts, more ideas, that validate its own constructs that it already has, you know? Silence is the highest teaching because it's getting right to the point. It's getting right to the point, saying, stop thinking. Quiet down. I can't tell it to you. You can't think it. So what are we doing? Why do you want me to tell you something? Why, you know what I mean? What could I even say? There is nothing to say. There is nothing I could say. And even if I could, you can't know it. It's not the thinking mind. It's awareness. I feel like this thing I'm talking about that I can make out to be so phenomenal, it's so much more natural and right here in this moment than it's made out to be and can be made out to be even by me. It's what we are, guys. It's this moment itself. And it's always here. We just think a lot. We just think a lot. And we want all this stuff. This is why meditation and just different, taking deep breaths, going out on a walk, stretching, doing yoga, meditating, following my breath, hitting a singing bowl, cleaning my room, lighting Palo Santo, doing hape, all these different upayas, methods that I personally do. This space I'm talking about is why I do them. I'm trying to remember that space. And there very much so is spiritual materialism within that. Of on one level, it's just trying to get high again. It's trying to get high on the moment. I'm gonna meditate so I feel good. Oh shit, I'm feeling a negative emotion here. I gotta light some Palo Santo and do hape and sit and meditate and stretch and go on a walk and clean my room and take a shower and, you know what I mean? I'm gonna do all these things to just run away from how I feel. When the better thing to do usually for me is when I'm feeling a negative emotion is to just be with it and carry on with my day. Be with that moment. If I'm at work, if I'm working and I feel a negative way, work and feel a negative way. Keep working and feel a negative way. Don't try to run away from it. The beautiful thing about these methods of coming into the moment, coming into this space, is that when you do these methods with mindfulness and patience and devotion and faith and just simplicity, they work. They allow us to remember. They allow us to remember this space I'm talking about. But the mind, which is the thing that obscures that space, can get attached to those methods. Yes, attached to spiritual methods, and make it into a search for pleasure and gratification and ego boosting stuff. That's the thing with the mind. The mind, the ego, forgets itself and becomes what it is. And then a thought form arrives in the mind and says, oh wow, I need to do that more often. That was really cool. That was really cool. You know what I mean? We're playing a very far out game here, guys. We're playing a very far out game here. It's a very thick experience we're having. It's a very rich experience of life we're having right now. There's a lot of levels to it, infinite levels. This is a dream. This is like, what are we doing? What is this? You know? Really think about it. Go out alone somewhere and sit down and just look at the fact that this exists. And anytime an idea that this is normal or makes sense comes into your mind, realize it as an idea. Who are these ideas occurring to? Who are these ideas happening to? The one that exists. What is that existence? What is this existence? It's far out. We are it. We are existence. And then we ask why and how and what. And the trippy part is this moment itself is the why and how and what. You know? Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you later.